Okay, we are finishing off Shoftim. We are in the Malbim. And we are looking again, what we're dealing with is the last chapter, chapter 21. And the verse, I'm going to start, I think we start off at 8 or 9. And so the verse 8 says that the Bnei Yisrael were looking for people, for anybody of Shiftei Yisrael, the tribes of Israel, who did not come up to Mitzpah and therefore not make the vow that their children, that their girls would not marry the boys of Binyamin. And they found out that they were from the people from Yavesh Gilad did this, and then they counted the people to make sure that there was nobody from Yavesh Gilad. So the Malbim says, after that they saw that that if they would find somebody from the city or a family that didn't come to the war, that person would be obligated to die by the courts because they transgressed the vow. And in this they could fix up the tribe Binyamin, because the women of Gilad were then permissible for them since they did not come to Mitzpah and they did not make a shvuah. Therefore they began now to search out and see, is there anybody from the tribe of Israel that did not come up to Mitzpah because now they need to do it for the good of Binyamin, of tribe Binyamin. And behold, they found that nobody from Yavesh Gilad had come. And in this, they judged well after another thing, Shalafi Datam. And according to their intent, since through Yavesh Gilad, since they transgressed the Shavuot, so they're the ones who caused the anger of Hashem, and they're the ones who they were the main reason that Binyamin had to be destroyed. So Nimsa Yavesh Gilad Gormim Lazeh Meharoi. So it was found that the people of Yavesh Gilad were the ones who were causing all this. Meharoi Sha'ata Al Yedei Yargu Otam Yitzmach Mishreshem. So that it was fitting that by killing them, the people of Yavesh Gilad, they would be the roots by which to regrow Binyamin from the virgins that would be living, that would be kept alive from the people of Gilad. You understand? So the Malbim is saying, why not only did they transgress the Shavuot, the oath to go out and to battle with Binyamin, but because they didn't come to Shiloh, so they're the ones who caused all this bad to happen. Because originally all they had in mind was to get the villain. And when Binyamin protected the villain, and they lost the first, Bnei Yisrael, they lost the first and second times, a lot of casualties. So that's why everybody kept going to war. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't a sin. And what was the sin? Because Yavesh Gilad didn't come down. So since Yavesh Gilad caused this whole debacle, so it's only fitting, the Malbim is explaining, that they should be wiped out because they transgressed, and their girls given to Binyamin. Fine. So then, in verse 13, it said that the whole nation sent, and they spoke to the people of Binyamin that were in Sel Rimon, and they called peace. They said, let's have peace. And it says, so then Malbim says, after they found how to fix the problem up, so they sent and they called Bnei Binyamin and with a call of peace. And so V'natnu lehem hanashim, and they gave them the women. Vayazel tovar klal, and this would be good for everybody. Labal yepagam bichlal shahu ma'ayidei chisorna asheva, because this way we're not going to lose one of the shavatim. Remember, we need 12. Ki haya kabala biyadam. It was known. It was It was a Kabbalah, it was a verbal thing that they got, or a tradition, that's what the word is. Tradition they had in their hands, that the divine presence of God would not dwell upon them if there was one tribe missing from amongst the tribes. So they knew it was to their benefit to maintain 12 tribes. So they're calling them and saying, we are going to give you girls. You're going to rebuild your troop. It's going to be for everybody. It's a win-win situation, except, of course, for the people of Yavesh Gilad who are dead. Okay. So in 14 it says, and Binyamin returned at that time, and they were given the women that were living, and still some did not have. Lo matzu lehem kain. Some guys didn't have. Ki lo matzu nashim lechol hashesh. Ish, because they didn't have 600 women, they only had 400 women. So that means we have 200 bachelors. So there were some people who still didn't have it. So what happens? They said, so the elders of the nation said, what are we going to do for the rest of the people? And so, wait, that's 15, I'm sorry. Oh, so that's what it is. The nation had compassion on Binyamin because Hashem made a breach in the land of amongst the tribes. So the Malbim says, "Rach limor v'hagam shekavar sar pachdam." Now that the fear had been taken away, sheimcha Shevet Israel, that a tribe of Israel would be taken away. After 400 women were found for the men. With all this being said, after they had appeased them and they said, let's have peace, now the nation as a whole had compassion on this whole thing, and they regretted what had been done, because through this, there was nearly a breach made amongst the tribes. Actually, there was a breach made, and there was hatred, and there was war. And that's why it says the nation had compassion. Because originally it said Bnei Israel had compassion, or had regretted, or were comforted, however you want to translate Vainachamu. Shehem Rashi'am, when it says Bnei Israel, that refers to the leaders of the people, Uziknehem, and their elders, V'gedoleim, and their Hadorshim Tovar Klal, and the Gevirim, the top good dogs who are always looking for the good of Israel, of Al-Ata. But now the verse is telling us, Nichama Am Kulo, that everybody, the whole nation, not only the leaders, but everybody regretted. And, right. Now they returned in love. And they didn't like that 200 guys were going to remain childless, right? So that's not good. You don't want to have to, we love you, you're our brothers. Okay, we had a fight, we had hatred, it was misunderstanding, fine. But now we all love each other. So if we all love each other, we have to figure out, we want to make you as miserable as we are with our marriage. So we're going to get you guys married, and you'll have children, and you'll have to deal with them. You're not going to be able to tell us how to bring our children up when you have no children to talk about. It's the most amazing thing when, and I can say this as a person who's been on both sides, we all have actually been on both sides of the scale. When I was single and without children and I was teaching, I had my designs as how things should be done. And then I got married, I realized, and I had children, and I said, oh, obviously I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. So for all those kids who I had when I was single, I apologize. Okay. But it really is a difference. You have more compassion once you realize that it's not really their fault. Sometimes it's just the kids.
Much more complicated than that.
Right. And so it's something that here is the same thing going on here, that the people were saying it's not fair that you remain childless. You know, you have to have children. So then it says, again, the elders of the city said, what should we do for the rest of these people? Okay, so now the Ziknei Ha'eder is speaking, what should we do? As Chakru and Sanhedrin. Now the Sanhedrin starts to investigate. Im Yuchlu Lahatir the Shvur. They said maybe we can annul, or not annul, but yeah, I guess annul is the word. Annul the oath in order that we can give the women wives to the women who are there, to the remaining guys. You need a Sanhedrin. We had a shvua out there. We had an oath. It's not so easy to break an oath. So maybe we can find something that we weren't thinking of. But not new Tom. And they gave the reason that they were doing this. Kinishmada Isha, because the women from Binyamin had been destroyed. Rotzlimor Kiba Eda Shavua, because in the time of the oath, Lo Datam Laharog Anashim Viataf. When they originally made the oath, they did not have a mind to kill the women and the children. The only thing they had in mind was they wouldn't marry them. They wouldn't intermarry with them, sorry. Not that the people should go without children. That not that they should be barren. Because then they would have, if they would have had women from Binyamin, so they would have married their own women. Lokain Ata, which is not the case now, Shanishmadu Nashea Binyamin, because the women of Binyamin were wiped out, V'yimachea Shevet Al Tanayzed, and the Shevet would be wiped out, Al Tanayzed Lo Nishbao, and with this condition they never made the Shvuah. Again, if I find an opening to Shavuot, that's what I need to do. So that was the opening, and that was the regret. So what happens? Then it says in the next verse, 17 and 18, that they said the remaining remnants of Binyamin, they should not be wiped out. We are going to give to them women from our girls, because Bnei Israel swore. But we can't give to them women from our daughters, because we made a shvur that said a person is the one who gives the women there. So now what happens? Vayomru Amru Aval Chazru, but then they went back and they said, no, this isn't this. The fact that we didn't want to wipe them out is not a real claim. Kizeh Yat Sodek, because this was right. Im Lo you. Motzeim Shum Takada. This would be right if they could not find in any way to fix it. Vayakol Shevet Nimcha, and the whole tribe would have been wiped out. Shazah Yapagam. Then indeed that would have been a problem. The whole nation. And then indeed that reason that they gave, that we never had this in mind to wipe them out, would have been good. Because they certainly never had in mind to wipe out the whole tribe. But that's not the case now. Why? Because Yerusha Paleta the Binyamin, there is a Paleta, there is a remnant of Binyamin. Kavar Yesh le Binyamin Yerusha Paleta al Yedesh Lachu Dalad Mehod Arod Miyosvei Yavesh Gilad. Because they have the 400 girls from Yavesh Gilad. So they're not going to die out. They're still here. I mean, now from then they're going to have a remnant, and they'll inherit the land. And automatically, the name of the tribe of Israel won't be wiped out. V'im Cain. So if that's the case, so then the oath that we made does not have an opening. It's not regret. And that's why the pasuk comes out, and that's when it says we cannot give women from our daughters, because we said that that person will be cursed. And there's no opening to this. You understand what they went through? I'm a court. You make a shvua, you make an oath. You come to me. We have 3 people, or if you're Sanhedrin 71. So you come to us and you say, okay, we have a shvu in front of us. So I say, the court, look at you, or when people make the shvuah and say, okay, did you have this in mind when you made the shvuah? Do you have this? And we go through a whole list. And if you say, yes, I had that in mind, then it's done. You can't get out. In other words, a shvuah is not something that's so easy to get out of. I have to have something I didn't have in mind when I made that. And once I find that opening, can nullify, or I can, nullify is the wrong, I still say it's the wrong word, but I can vimater it, I can allow it. However you want to look at that word, it's allowing.
Saying was annulling it, it wasn't valid in the first place. In other words, something that say.
Yeah, I guess annul would be the right word. I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess
it wasn't. In other words, if something was wrong, that it should not have done it in the first place. It wasn't valid.
Okay, so that's a null. That'll be a null. Fine. Okay. Well, I mean, we all understand what I'm saying. So, something's saying that it's not the right word to me, but okay. Wouldn't be the first time that my gut reaction was wrong. So, about how the English would translate. But anyway, so they find. So they said, okay, I have one. They said the way we never had in mind to wipe out the whole tribe, and we had in mind to keep the women alive. We just want to get the perpetrators. So that was the thing. So they said, no, that doesn't work. This is how the court's working. They're thinking, that doesn't work. What are you talking about? How can that work? We already saved them. They all 400 guys are married. So we have 200 bachelors. I'm sorry, but we made an oath, and when you have 400 guys getting married, so each one of them is going to, God willing, have children. How many do you need? One parent, you're not using birth control, so you're shooting the kids out there. They're young.
There was no need to make an exception for the remaining.
Right, no need. So 200 guys. I'm sorry. Kill your brothers off, I guess, and you can marry them. Wait till they drop dead. But whatever. But we can't do anything. And so the Sanhedrin said, you know what? You're right. That's not an opening.
Huh.
It's not an opening.
So what if they could go outside and take a Gentile wife who would convert? Would that?
You don't want to do that because that's a forced conversion.
If you're purposely seeking it, in other words.
Yeah. I mean, when somebody comes to us and says, I want to marry Christine over here, and I'm trying to use the most Christine. I want to marry Christine, and so the problem is I know Jewish Christine, so I really shouldn't use Christine anymore. But right, but it's I want to marry this girl, and so a rabbi convert her.
Yeah.
We say have a good day.
I think the word is abrogate. Where you change a law.
It could be. Well, again, what I'm doing is I'm finding.
Yeah.
I don't know if abrogate. I'm not sure. I have to think about it.
To find a way around.
Yeah.
Right. A loophole.
A loophole.
Yeah. Okay. It could be abrogate. Yeah. Next. So then what happens is the Sanhedrin says, they said, there's going to have a holiday to it for Hashem and Shiloh from year to year, and it gives the whole directions where they're going to be. So what happens? So now they went back and they had another powwow, and they gave advice for the good of these 200 people remaining. And the advice was to grab the girl from the dance. We're going to have a dance, you're going to grab the girl, you're going to take her home. And so what happens is, again, so what they said was they commanded the people of Binyamin, and we said this secretly, they didn't tell everybody else, go hide yourself in the vineyard. When you see the girl that you're interested in, she's going to come out to dance, and you'll go to the vineyards, you grab them, take them home, and you go to the land of Binyamin, and so on and so forth. So Malbim explains, Chatavtem hit nu imahem. They made a condition with them. Shekol echad lo yechtov rak isha achat. They should only grab one woman. They can't have you can't have 5 wives here. Okay. Shalichem la'aret la'eretz Binyamin. They should bring them back, lead them back to the land of Binyamin. Shelo yasigu otam avotam l'riv behem, so that the fathers will not reach them to fight with them. You don't want the, in other words, you're worried about the father. Here you took Rivka away, so you don't want the father chasing after him, killing him.
Well, what's the halakha here that they're ruling on it? Why is this different from the other tribes just giving their women over?
Okay, let's go on with the story. That's part of the story.
Okay.
So he said, that way, when the fathers will come, and that's what we're going to deal with next, when the fathers will come, or the brothers, to argue with us, and we will then say to them, don't worry about this. You didn't, we didn't take the man and the wife in war, and you didn't give it to them, so it's not a sin. It's not a sin. So he says, Malbim explains, if they come to us to argue that we took the wives with by force, then we'll say to them two claims. That which you're afraid of, the Shavua, namely the cursed are you who will give your daughter. Then you will say to them that also they were grabbed. We were doing them, showing them favor, b'masha anu shotkim lahem, and that we were quiet to them. V'nemar lahem chanunu otam b'tmiya. Was it showing them grace? They didn't take them in war. They took them and they were makadesh them they did kedushin with the knowledge of the woman, and she is his wife. So now we need to fight them over this.
So the father's not giving them away, per se.
Right. What they did is the girls went into the vineyards. So the Gemara has a whole field there with this. But each one had 4 sets of girls. They borrowed clothes. The point is that the girls weren't getting married either. Apparently there was the singles.
These were girls that had not been.
Right, they weren't married yet.
Okay.
Apparently it was the even back then.
And they were kind of.
Well, what do you call it now? A singles. No, but what do you call it when we have a singles crisis?
Mixer? What do you call it?
No, but yeah, it's mixer. It was a singles dance. But
yeah.
Again, they're hiding, and so what they're going to do is, what the Malbim is explaining is, they're going to see the woman, they're going to go to her, and they're going to say, okay, tzadekis, I have blah, 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 come back with me, and she's doing it, the point is she's doing it willingly.
So if she's over 21 years older, she's probably delighted to get a proposal.
I don't know how old she is, but yeah.
Maybe younger than that.
Right, I don't know how old she is, but, right. The point is that this is their big chance to get married.
Okay, got it.
So, and I mean, that's the way. Sorry?
Maybe over 16 even.
It could have been over 12. I don't know. It could have been over 12. I'm not sure what we're dealing with. But the point is that they're saying to the fathers, you're worried about the curse. Because normally you wouldn't care. Normally you would send them off and have a good time. You don't care if your girl marries a different tribe. But because of this situation, you were worried. So what I'm telling you is, they didn't grab him. It wasn't a state of war. It wasn't anything else. They went out. They took the girl. They makadeshed her. They, from her knowledge, and according to her desire, she's his wife. So now we need to fight with them. We need to take their wives. We're not obligated. And we're not also not permission. And therefore we didn't show them any extra favor in what that they took the wives. Don't worry about it. Okay? And then it says the second thing, you didn't give it to them that you should be guilty. I mean, they took them by themselves. So therefore you have not transgressed your shavua. That's how the Sanhedrin is going to come down 200 fathers, or brothers, or whatever else. It's 200. The interesting is, by the way, why it had to be from year to year to year to year to year. That would be interesting also. Because once we're already established... Oh, I take that back. Okay, we've already kept their tribes from, right? So the problem is that if they only get to marry in their tribe, which is what they could do at this point, since everybody's having children, they could always marry their cousins. But what they want to also do is open up the gene pool, if you will. And so they're going to have these dances, and then again, you Bnei Binyamin have Binyamin mixer, if you will. You know, you can get your guys. But we're not worried about the girls. We're only worried about the guys. Okay. The girls will get picked. Yeah. Okay, so, and then what happened? And then it says, they went from the, Bnei Yisrael went from that time, each man to his tribe and the family, and they went from there, man to his portion. So now the Malbim says, V'yadhalchu hagam shahaya lehem az l'sum leiv al ha'mechshala sheyatzam yadam. Now that the people then could put to their hearts the stumbling block that came through their hands. And now, still when they were together, ligdor parrots, they could now repair the breach that they made. Gam lahakim melech shofet yashgiach ala am, and also they could have put a king or a judge over to supervise the nation. With all this, v'inei takef and with all this, even though they could have done it, so what they do, they immediately went back to his place and acted like it was before. Why? And this is the last verse. There was no king in the land of Israel. In Israel, each man did that which is proper in his own eyes. Now, again, the way that Mr. David explained that was, even though that Bnei Binyamin were only 600 men, and it was a large territory, nobody took over the territory. Nobody usurped the territory. That's all the simple explanation of that. So Malbim says like this: there was no king, and every person did that which was right in his own eyes. V'nei zaman, and behold, this time, Matai hayu. When were these last two events that took place? Min Pesel Micha, Min Pelegesh Giva, maybe the idol of Micha or the Pelegesh of Giva. Again, this whole incident that we have. Lo Be'era Ketuv, the pasuk does not explain. Vedat Rabotena, our rabbis explain. Beseder Olam in the histories. The history book was called Seder Olam, the Order of the World. Okay, Shahaya b'mei Rishatayim, that this event took place in the days of Kushan Rishatayim, which is way back. V'yalzeh amar b'yamim mehem, and that's why it says in those days, Ein Melech Israel, there was no king in Israel. Ratz limor, which means Sha'acharei Mot Yehoshua v'Ezekenim, that after the death of Joshua and the elders, Lo hukam adayin shofet Israel, there was no shofet, there was no judge in Israel until Atniel ben Kenaz. Again, that's the first guy who comes up. For the Fizeh, and according to the Fizeh Adat, Yitzdak Mashanamar Shemrei Dan Bakshu Nachalat L'Shevet V'Kavshu Layish. And according to this, that's when it became proper for the Bnei Dan to request their inheritance to live and to conquer Laish. So that was after the death of Joshua. Shalach kol shevet l'chavosh nachlato. That each tribe went to conquer his inheritance. V'lachtu b'nei Dan et Laish, and b'nei Dan, the children of Dan, took over, conquered Laish. Commotion discovered Sefer Yeshua, like it says in the book of Joshua. Uvizei Yitzdak Mashin Emar Al Yushalayim Lo Nasur El Ir Nachri, and that's why it says it's correct to say that about Jerusalem that it would not be removed. So that it would not become that they would not remove foreign city, foreigners from the city that was not from Bnei Israel. That was before Yehuda conquered their portion in Jerusalem, like it says above. And it's also correct according to this, which is said, that the idol of Micha stood all the days that the Mishkan stood in Shiloh. Shemashma shetamid sham v'shave im hatmadat ha'aron b'Shiloh. That it was always there with the as long as the Aaron was in Shiloh. Ulam mimash ne'ema chachmei levrochem but what the rabbi said, al ben navad hamardot she'eshet Shaul radfa acharav, that the wife of Shaul that was that ran after him, Kishal bosh lechatva min mecholo, because Shaul, who was ashamed to grab somebody from the dancers. Shimshon. That would be implied that this took place after the death of Shimon. Kodem shahukam shofet acher, which before the other shofet came up. Shalzeh amar b'yamim mehem ein melech Yisrael, and through this they would say there was no king of Israel. And that, according to that, it would be correct to put these events after what happened to Shimshon, because that would be according to how it was working. And that which says, and that which was said, that the people, that they held the idols from Michab as long as the Aaron was in Shiloh. So that all it means is that it was from that point on until the destruction of Shiloh. And there are those, the rabbis also say that Yonatan was made the Gizbar, the treasurer, V'mei Shlomo, Shayahu Navi Azakim b'Beit El, which was the last Navi in Beit El. If you say there, Olam Haya Chai Yotzim Araba Meot Shana. According to that, he lived over 400 years, and that's it. So that gives you the whole story of what was going on. So, again, this is a question as to when this historically took place. But nonetheless, it's an interesting insight as to how Sanhedrin works in this last part, how the Sanhedrin works, and also how this concept of that you go on to, you have a singles mixer and you're coming out. Again, it was what we call horasha. It was needed for that time because it was a ruling for that time, and it would continue because of a shavua that they made that they never should have made. They never should have made that shavua. If they would have checked out, if they would have had what we call das Torah all the way through, if they would have gone to the Sanhedrin and said, okay, this is what's happening. What should we do? Pinchas, what should we do? Let's ask the Orim V'Tumim. Let's do it in order. Let's not just act rash in a rash manner. We have a halacha. We have a Torah. We have an order of how things should happen. So let's follow that, and let's not just be rash. And since they were rash, they had to deal with that. And again, it's all part of there was no king in Israel. Because if there was a king in Israel, then that would have been controlled. If there was leadership in Israel, again, that would have been controlled. The problem was everybody thought they were independent. And you see that's a constant thing that we put up with throughout time, including to this very day. That's why I said in America, when the Jews came before the rabbis, again before the leadership, it was a Wild West in more than one way. And to this very day, it's a Wild West. Because people still don't look, unless you're in a certain class, people still don't look to the rabbis to see what should be done. And when the rabbis say something, they say, "Oh, silly rabbi.
I'll find somebody else."
You don't know what you're talking about. You know, you have to live in the real world. Yeah. Look, I use internet. Now I have to use these Michigan things. But it's, I'm the first one to admit that there's garbage on this internet. And I'm the first one to admit that you need to put guards against your kids, because I'll never forget, again, my kid wanted to watch Harry Potter or something, and on the side was this buxom blonde. It was a cartoon, but on the side, on the computer, you know, the ads, the free ads. And I'm thinking, I took it off. He didn't care about the buxom blonde. He was all 5 years old. But I was thinking, really? Really? It's a kid's thing. What are you putting it there for? Yeah. You don't put that there. You put Toys R Us. Yeah. You don't put that. You know, I don't mind you selling the product.
Kellogg's Rice Krispies.
Kellogg's Rice Krispies. But you don't put something like that on, and you really have to guard your eyes. Yeah. You have to really be on top of these things. And so all the people say, we don't need filters. It gets to you. All these things get to you, and nobody wants to hear that, because everybody will say, no, I can do everything. I can do everything. No, you can't. And so when the rabbis make these, again, I'm not going to say every ruling that they make do I totally agree with. I don't, but it's, but I respect it. I respect it. I'm not going to make fun of it. I'm not going to say, oh, those crazy guys, you know, they live in the ivory towers. And that's what was going on here, though. That's really what was going on here. There is an order. We have a Torah. We have a halacha. We have to follow that, and we can't just shoot off from the hip to see what we want to say. And again, that's the problem that we continually make. It never ends. And that's why I said it all the way through Shoftim. I'll say it one more time to end the class. If you really want to know what's going on and what's messing the world up, read this book over and over and over again. Don't ever let these words leave your mouth, because you're going to see the same thing over and over, and never stops. Never stops. With the assimilation, with shooting from the hip, with everything we do, not listening to leadership, thinking we're the leadership, and then crying to leadership, how do we get out of this? And then leadership gives them away, and we say no. It never stops. Okay? And we'll stop here. I hope you enjoyed it. Next June, not this week, next June 8th. June 8th, we start the book of Shmuel.